Hello everyone. Our today's topic is direct and indirect bandgap type of semiconductors and charge carriers in semiconductors. In previous lecture, we have discussed about the energy levels and energy bands formation in semiconductors. And we have also discussed about the valence band, conduction band, and the energy band gap in semiconductors. So, in today's lecture, we will discuss the different types of materials, metals, semiconductors, and insulators, and the semiconductors, direct and indirect type of semiconductors. And at the end of the lecture, we will discuss about the charge carriers in semiconductors. So there are the different types of the materials that are differentiated on the basis of the conductivity, that is on the basis of band gap of the material. In metals, the conductivity of the metals is based on the free electrons due to the metal bonding. Already with low energy, electrons become sufficiently detached from the atoms and the conductivity is high. And in semiconductors, the conductivity lies between the conductors and insulators. While in insulators, no pre-charge carriers, since the band gap of the insulators is high. Now let us discuss one by one. First, the metals. As we have discussed, metal conductivity is very high. In conductors, valence band is either not fully occupied with electrons or the field valence band overlaps with the empty conduction band. In general, both states occurs at the same time. The electrons can therefore move inside the partially filled valence band or inside the two overlapping bands. In conductors, there is no band gap between valence band and the conduction band, which is shown in figure the on left side, the band diagram of the conductor. Now we shall discuss about the semiconductors. The band diagram of the semiconductor is shown in figure. The middle figure shows the band diagram of semiconductor. Then what are the semiconductors? As you know, the conductivity lies between the conductor and insulators. Even in semiconductors, there is a band gap, but compared to insulator, it is so small that even at room temperature, the electrons from valence band can be lifted into conduction band. The electrons can move freely and act as charge carriers. Each electron also leaves a hole in the valence band behind, which can be filled by other electrons in the valence band. Thus, one gets wandering holes in the valence band, which can be viewed as a positive charge carriers. there are always pair of electrons and holes so that there are as many as negative as positive charges. So the semiconductor crystal as a whole is a neutral because there are equal number of negative and positive charges. A pure undoped semiconductor, as you know, it is called intrinsic semiconductor. The the charges, that is electrons and positive charges, negative and positive charges, are about the 10 to the power of 10 free electrons and holes per cubic centimeter at room temperature. The electrons always assume the energetically lowest state. They fall back into valence band and recombine with the holes if there is no any energy supply. At a certain temperature, an equilibrium is arranged between the electrons elevated to the conduction band and the electrons falling back. With increasing the temperature, the number of electrons that can leave the band gap is increased and thus increasing the conductivity of semiconductors. Now we shall discuss about the insulators. In the figure to the right side, band diagram of insulator is shown. Compared to the conductors and semiconductors, the band gap of the insulator is more. So this insulator possesses no free charge carriers and therefore this material is non-conductive. In insulator, the valence band is fully occupied with the electrons due to covalent bonds. The electrons cannot move because they are locked up between the atoms. To achieve a conductivity, electrons from valence band have to move into conduction band. This prevents the band gap which lies in between the valence band and conduction band. Only with considerable energy expenditure, if possible, the band gap can be overcome. So, in this material, there is a negligible conductivity. Now we shall discuss about the direct and indirect band gap type of semiconductors. Let us discuss the first direct band gap semiconductors. In figure, left hand side, the figure is of direct band gap type of semiconductors. Now, let us understand the concept of direct band gap semiconductors. The band gap represents the minimum energy difference between the top of the valence band and the bottom of the conduction band. The top of the valence band and the bottom of the conduction band are not generally at the same value of the electron momentum. Minimum energy state in the conduction band and the maximum energy state in the valence band are each characterized by a certain crystal momentum and k vector, that is propagation constant. Here, the allowed values of energy can be plotted with propagation constant since The periodicity of the most lattices is different in different various directions. So, EK diagram must be plotted for various crystal directions. If the K vectors and are the same for conduction band minima and valence band maxima, it is called direct band gap semiconductors. So the band structure of gallium arsenide has a minimum in the conduction band and maxima in the valence band for the same K value, that is K is equal to 0, is shown in figure. In case of direct band gap type of semiconductor, if momentum of electron holes is same in both conduction band and valence band, an electron can directly emit a photon. Since in direct band gap semiconductors, electron in conduction band minima recombine directly with holes in valence band maxima without change in momentum as well as kinetic energy. So, energy will be emitted in the form of light. This phenomena is called as a spontaneous emission. In direct band gap semiconductor, energy is conserved by means of emitting a photon. Such transitions are called as radiative transitions. Relative carrier lifetime is small in case of direct band gap semiconductor. The best example of direct band gap semiconductors are gallium arsenide, indium phosphide, aluminum gallium arsenide, zinc oxide, zinc sulfide, and so on. Gallium arsenide emits the light in infrared region. Now let us discuss about the indirect band gap semiconductors. And the example of indirect band gap type of semiconductors are the silicon and germanium. If K vector, that is propagation constant, or it is also called as a wave vector, are the different for conduction band minima and valence band maxima, it is called indirect band gap semiconductors. In this case, the momentum is not same for conduction band minima and valence band maxima. In indirect gap, the photon cannot be emitted because the electron must pass through an intermediate state and transmit momentum to the crystal lattice. In case of indirect band gap semiconductors, during excitation, there is change in momentum and kinetic energy as well as direction and path of electron. In direct gap semiconductor, energy emits in the form of heat. Carrier lifetime in case of indirect band gap semiconductor is greater than carrier lifetime of direct band gap semiconductors. So the transitions that involves the phonons without producing photons are called non-radiative transitions. These transitions are observed in and indirect bandgap semiconductors, and there is insufficient photon producing. For efficient LEDs and lasers, the materials which are used for gallium arsenide, aluminum gallium arsenide, etc., which are the direct bandgap type of semiconductors. So, for the LEDs and the lasers, for these devices, the indirect type of semiconductors are used. Now we shall discuss about the charge carriers. What is charge carrier? The particles that are free electrons and holes carry the charge or electric current from one place to another place, and this is called as charge carriers. And as you know, the charge carriers in intrinsic semiconductors are equal. That is, negative charge carriers equal to the positive charge carriers. And in N-type semiconductors, there is a majority of the negative charge carriers and minority of the positive charge carriers. So the negative charge carrier is greater than the positive charge carriers in case of N-type semiconductors. While in P-type semiconductors, there is a majority of the holes and minority are the electrons. So the negative charge carriers are less than the positive charge carriers. So in figure, the N-type and P-type semiconductor material is shown, in which the minority in N-type, the minority carriers are the holes and majority carriers are the free electrons. And in P-type, majority carriers are the holes and minority carriers are the electrons. So at low temperature, all the valence electrons are revolving around the nucleus of an atom, and hence there are no free electrons present in the conduction band to carry electric current. So the semiconductor behaves as a perfect insulator at absolute zero temperature. And when small amount of external energy in the form of light is applied to the semiconductor, the valence electrons gain enough energy to break the bonding with parent atom, and they jumps into the conduction band. And as you know that the electrons in conduction band are not attached to the parent atom, this is called as free electrons. And what is the holes? As we have discussed, when the electron leaves the valence band and jumps into the conduction band, a vacancy is created at the electron position, and this is called as hole. Okay, let us summarize the today's lecture. For LEDs and lasers, the direct bandgap type of semiconductors are used, that is the gallium arsenide, aluminum gallium arsenide, etc. And as the discuss in intrinsic semiconductors, the equal number of carriers, negative carriers is equal to positive carriers, and in N-type, the negative carriers are greater than the positive charge carriers, and in P-type, the holes positive charge carriers are greater than the negative charge carriers. This is all for today's lecture. Thank you.